She smiled politely when the flight attendant leaned in and whispered, "Ma'am, would you mind switching your VIP seat? The other passenger is more accustomed to this section." The entire first-class cabin went quiet, eyes shifting uncomfortably as if waiting for a scene. But instead of arguing, the black woman, calm, composed, and unreadable, took out her phone, made one quiet call, and within an hour, the flight crew's smiles turned to panic. What happened next shocked everyone on board. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe, because you won't believe how power, prejudice, and poetic justice collided in this true corporate takedown. It all started on a crisp morning flight from London to New York, a transatlantic route known for hosting CEOs, diplomats, and elite travelers. Among them sat Drive, Maya Carter, a poised black woman in her mid-30s, dressed in a tailored gray suit and pearl earrings that gleamed softly under the cabin lights. She wasn't flashy, but there was something about her calm confidence that made people take notice. Maya was the kind of person who didn't need to announce her success. It radiated quietly in the way she carried herself. As passengers boarded, a few heads turned, some out of admiration, others out of thinly veiled curiosity. Maya had taken her assigned seat in 1A, a VIP window seat that offered maximum privacy and comfort. She was reviewing documents for an upcoming conference where she was to keynote, ironically, on corporate diversity and ethical leadership. Just as the final passengers boarded, a tall white man in an expensive suit entered the cabin, talking loudly on his phone about closing the deal and meeting the chairman in Manhattan. He glanced at Maya, frowned, then turned to the flight attendant and muttered something under his breath. The attendant nodded politely and approached Maya, her professional smile tightening at the edges. "Excuse me, ma'am," she said softly, "we have a small issue with seating. Would you mind switching to 4C? The gentleman here has requested your seat." Maya looked up slowly, surprised. "Requested my seat? Why?" The attendant hesitated. "He's a VIP guest. We like to accommodate special passengers when possible." Maya tilted her head, her voice still calm. "I'm also a VIP passenger. This seat was booked under my name weeks ago." The man interrupted with a dismissive chuckle. "Come on, sweetheart, don't make this a big deal. You can still sit up here, just not in that one. I need the space to work." A few nearby passengers shifted uncomfortably. One woman looked away, another man rolled his eyes as if to say, "Here we go again." Maya inhaled deeply, holding her composure. "Sir," she said evenly, "I'm not moving." The attendant's tone changed subtly, less polite, more insistent. "Ma'am, please don't make this difficult. It's just a seat." But Maya noticed the glances, the silent judgment, the unspoken assumption that she didn't belong where she was sitting. That was the moment her heart cooled. She'd experienced this before, far too many times, but this time she wasn't just any passenger. She was the chief ethics officer of one of the largest airline conglomerates in the world, the very one that owned this airline. Without another word, she unlocked her phone and dialed a number. Her voice stayed calm, precise, almost detached. "Yes, it's Drive, Carter. I'm on flight 221, London to JFK. I believe we have a serious issue with crew training and discrimination protocol." The attendant blinked, unsure what she meant. Maya continued, still looking directly at her. "Yes, please inform Director Hudson to have HR and compliance waiting at JFK. I'll be filing a formal investigation." She hung up without another word. The attendant's face turned pale. The loud businessman suddenly seemed less sure of himself. "What's that supposed to mean?" he asked, trying to laugh it off. Maya didn't reply. She simply returned to her documents, her calmness now terrifyingly powerful. The rest of the cabin was dead silent. An hour later, the captain himself came out mid-flight. "Dr. Carter, I've just been informed. There appears to have been a misunderstanding. Please accept our apologies for any discomfort." She looked up briefly, her expression unreadable. "I'm sure you'll handle it appropriately." When the plane landed in New York, the scene that unfolded was something no one had expected. As the crew lined up to greet passengers disembarking, a group of corporate executives in dark suits was waiting near the gate. One of them, Director Hudson, a tall woman with steel gray hair, walked straight up to Maya, shaking her hand respectfully. "Dr. Carter, Thank you for alerting us. We'll take it from here. Then, turning coldly toward the flight attendant and the man who had demanded the seat, Hudson's voice cut through the air like a blade. You, and the rest of this cabin crew, will be escorted for immediate suspension pending investigation. As for you, sir, she looked at the man, we've confirmed you're not a company VIP, just an investor guest. You've violated conduct policy and will no longer fly with us under corporate sponsorship. The color drained from his face. Wait. You can't do this. I'm a friend of the chairman. Hudson's tone didn't waver. The chairman reports to Dr. Carter. The murmurs in the terminal spread like wildfire. Passengers whispered, shocked to realize who Maya really was. Phones came out, recording the scene that would soon go viral worldwide. Maya remained composed, offering only a polite nod before walking away toward her car. But as she exited the terminal, a young black flight attendant, new, nervous, clearly watching everything, ran up to her and whispered, "Thank you. People like me, we notice. You made us proud." Maya smiled softly for the first time that day. "Never let anyone tell you where you belong," she said, then stepped into her waiting car, the city skyline gleaming in the distance. Within 48 hours, the airline made a public statement acknowledging the incident of racial bias and unprofessional conduct aboard Flight 221. The entire senior crew was terminated, and new diversity training programs were rolled out company-wide, spearheaded personally by Dr. Maya Carter. The news exploded across social media. Black executive teaches airline a lesson in equality, without raising her voice. Months later, during her keynote speech at the Global Ethics Summit, Maya referenced the incident, not to shame anyone, but to make a point. True power, she said, doesn't shout. It doesn't threaten. It simply reminds the world who's really in charge when fairness is on the line. The audience rose in applause, but one reporter later asked, "What went through your mind at that moment on the plane?" Maya smiled faintly. "I thought about every young woman who's been told she doesn't belong. And I decided, if I can sit in that seat, I'll make sure no one ever has to give it up again." And with that, she walked off stage, calm, composed, unshakably powerful, just like she had on Flight 221. Subscribe now for more powerful real-life stories where injustice meets poetic justice, because sometimes, one quiet call can change everything.